what causes dis-ease in your life? Regret, anger, resentment, um, punishing myself for mistakes I may have made. So I knew there was like this sweeping out of my soul that I needed to do. And that was to forgive people that hurt me, to forgive myself, to let go of pain or resentment or anger. I needed to forgive. And in sweeping out my soul like this, I was making room for the healing to move through me.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Love, Loss, and Hallucinations, where we start with those three themes in all their many connotations and see where the conversation takes us. Quickly, if you're liking what you're hearing on the podcast, be sure to follow the show as well as share it with someone in your life who you think would also appreciate it. Today's guest, what a journey this woman has been on. I don't even know where to start, to be honest. My guest, her life has been full of some of the biggest highs as well as more than one dark night of the soul. I can tell you that. Just a brief recap before I introduce her is, when she was young, her parents divorced, so she had to deal with that as a young child. And then fast forward to her first triathlon at 23 years old, when she barely knew how to swim and came in dead last. Then, a mere 8 years later, she was the ITU world champion in triathlon. But her career wasn't just a smooth trajectory. Early in her triathlon career, just as she was truly acknowledging to herself and those around her that she was gay, she had to retreat from her authentic self because her major sponsor, a sponsor that was truly allowing her to pursue her triathlon dreams, told her she had to grow her hair long and get a boyfriend because they were very family oriented. Making matters worse, her father then shunned her when she told him she was gay. However, she, went on to become a world champion. And after she did that twice, she went on to marry the woman of her dreams in 2014. And she has coached a number of triathletes to world champion status. Pretty amazing already. And then we keep going because, like I said, it's an incredible story. In 2019, at 50 years old, she was about to get a double hip replacement from all that beating on her body from the running and such. And she was told instead that she has acute myeloid leukemia, a diagnosis that almost certainly meant death. However, she beat cancer and is now 5 years cancer-free. She and her wife, Rebekah Keat, have since founded the Believe Ranch Horse Rescue, where she also does equine therapy. And she's written a couple books. She has a documentary that's just about to come out called Try Me, the Siri Lindley story. And welcome to the podcast, Siri.
Well, Scott, thank you for having me. I don't know if you know this, but you are one of my favorite people in the world. And when you
that
talk
is so
about,
sweet, Siri.
It's true. And I have to say, and I remember telling you this at the time when I first turned pro and moved to Boulder, Colorado, and met my dear friend, Pat Brown, who introduced me to you.
Pat Brown.
You were one of my all-time favorite training partners. And we used to have such great conversations. That's why I've been looking forward to this today.
Likewise.
I hated those long rides, but as long as I was going with Scott Schumaker, I knew it was going to be all right. So thank you for having me. I can't wait.
Likewise, really, I've been also looking forward to this, and I agree. We definitely helped each other get through those long rides up, whatever it was, 7 Mile Canyon. What is it called? I can't even remember these days.
It was so long ago. Jamestown and Ward and
all through the Boulder hills and foothills and so it's great to see you again. And I guess just might as well start there with the triathlon. At 23, you were introduced to the sport of triathlons and were, it seems, immediately like smitten and bitten by the triathlon bug, as they say. Why do you think that was?
I was at this time in my life where I'd graduated from college, Brown University, Ivy League education. Parents are so excited, their kids she can just go conquer the world. And I had realized I was gay.
Mm,
And um, at the time, it had actually been a couple of years after I graduated where I was coming to be comfortable with who I was. And the reason why I found triathlon is there was this woman that was a doctor that used to come to the YMCA that I worked at. And I thought she was super cute. And she's like, I'm doing a triathlon this weekend. You should come watch me. And I literally had no idea, like, what is a triathlon? And I showed up and I was just like blown away
mm,
by the fact that it was people all ages, all sizes, all ability levels, but every single one of them was like finding themselves through this challenge. Like you could see everyone was pushing themselves beyond what they thought they could do. And so I'm watching this and I'm so inspired. And my friend crossed the line and I like nearly tackled her. And I'm like, oh my God, you've got to teach me how to do this. Like, this is for me. And as I look back now, I think that, my dad had just cut me out of his life when he found out who I was. And that's like heartbreaking. It's like
hmm.
because of who I am, I've lost a lifetime of love.
Yeah. And
And
this was a man who had been to all your previous sports events, was your biggest supporter
my
in the
biggest fan,
athletics. Yeah.
my best friend, my greatest source of love. And in the moment of his rejection, I mean, first of all, I could have had that just define me and think my life's just going to be nothing. The story
Mm,
he's telling me is that because of who I am, I'm not worthy of love or success or happiness or joy or anything.
mm,
But thank God I didn't tell that story. And instead, like, I was just on this desperate mission to prove to myself
mm,
that even as a gay woman, I can achieve great things. I can inspire others. I can make a difference in the world and I can be happy and I can be loved somehow. But how was I going to do that? Like, how am I going to prove that to myself? And so I guess in watching that race,
mm.
I felt like that could be the place where I could figure this all out. Maybe. And so my friend Lynn offered to coach me, but we went to the pool the next day and she's like, "Tell me what you got." And I'm like, "I don't know how to swim. I can float, but I don't know how to swim." So she was kind of sorry
Wow.
that she helped me, but that's where it started. What a vehicle to find yourself,
Mm.
and figure out what you're capable of.
Yeah. Well, and obviously you figured out what you were capable of, becoming a world champion 8 years later. But how did you find yourself? What did you find out about yourself through this whole process?
Well, it's like you lose a parent in that way,
Hmm.
and I guess I guess the biggest thing was I wanted to know that I could feel safe in my own skin. I wanted to know that
Mm,
if I lose everyone in my life, at least I have me. And I wanted to know that, like, I got myself, like, I got my own back. We can do this. We can do these hard things. We can do things that we don't think we can. We can be afraid and we're gonna survive. And
mm,
so I guess I mean, first of all, it's deciding to be fearlessly authentic and say, look, I've got an Ivy League education. Everyone's telling me I need to go, get a master's, do this, get a job here. You've went to this amazing school. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to, you know, devote my entire life to this sport that I suck at. And it didn't make sense. But this was like the first big declaration of, you know what? It doesn't make sense, but I'm doing it because my heart wants this. I want this, and I believe that I can. So taking that stand for myself, I think, was really empowering. And
hmm.
then, learning how to swim and, training with people that were way better than me all the time, getting my ass kicked right, left, and center. embarrassing. I mean, you probably remember this because you're an amazing swimmer, but I moved to Boulder, Colorado, and I don't know how, I really am a shitty swimmer. And Jane Scott, who's the sister of Dave Scott, she's an amazing swim coach. I started going to her master's sessions. And what I did is I kept putting myself in, she wanted me in like the slowest lane, but I put myself in the fastest lane. And I try and hang on for like as long as I could. And then I'd pull to the side and wait for them to come around again. Now, it didn't last very long because I was really creating chaos, in the pool. And you really have to go in your own lane. But I wanted to just put myself in situations where I was the worst so that would push me to become better. In all of that, there's this, there's like showing up for me, and believing in something that seemed impossible, not just to me, but to everyone around me. Like in that's what I always wanted is someone in my life to champion me, to have my back, to believe in me, to have faith in me. And so I had to be that for me. I had to, regardless of the laughter, because I got laughed at a lot, in the early days, especially, because I was training, one of my strategies was I'm going to study the best athletes in the world. I'm going to see what they do, and I'm going to do what they do, even though I suck. So when I started in Massachusetts and I'm working a 60-hour-a-week job at the YMCA, but I would show up at 5 a.m. and train until I had to start work, train during my lunch hour, train after work. And people were like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
But not giving up on that. And the thing is that doing that day after day after day, eventually I didn't suck anymore. And to know that that's because I didn't let the laughter get to me. I didn't let the naysayers stop me. Just that is enough to establish some self-respect and some self-love. And this is the kind of stuff that I was after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's where it all began.
Just that motivation. Yeah. And just like what you're saying, part of what is resonating with me is that, relying on the self, and obviously triathletes in general tend to be a bunch that are very self-reliant. And to the point sometimes where it can flip to the other side, where it's maybe not the healthiest thing in the world. I mean, I know I got into triathlon because it was very like, it's all about me. I'm not going to rely on anybody. I'm not even going to have a coach. That was a mistake. And, I'm going to figure it all out on myself, because then I wouldn't be let down by anybody else. So I'm wondering if any of that played into this, trying to discover yourself, rely on yourself.
Absolutely, Scott. And because in my brain, when you go through something like someone you love more than anything cutting you out of their life, you start thinking, well, what if it's just me? What if it is just me for the rest of my life?
Yeah.
I need to trust myself. I need to believe in myself. I need to be there for myself. So absolutely, it was about that self-reliance and proving to myself that as long as I have me, I'm okay. And this kind of went on, I did get a coach, thankfully. So it wasn't to the extent where I cut everyone else out. My mom was like my biggest supporter, and she was always amazing. But there was a time when it got to where I was getting pretty good and I wanted to make the Olympic team. I had this belief that I've got to go do this on my own. So I moved to Australia, because that's where the best athletes in the world were. I got an apartment, didn't have friends, didn't go out, trained by myself, had my plan, literally just thought that if I do this, I'm going to get so strong and so self-reliant that I can make the Olympic team. Biggest mistake in the world, because at my core, I'm a lover, I love animals. I love my animals. I love my friends. I love my family. Like I was totally living out of alignment with what brings out me. which is that love and connection and my animals and nature and all of this. So here I think I'm doing this thing that's going to bring out the best in me. But what I was doing is I was living so out of alignment,
So
that
isolated
it brought out
and
the worst in me. It was misaligned. Like, I
yeah.
believe that to live the best life, you have to live in alignment to all that you are. Your
Mm,
true, where you are at your best. Surround yourself with what brings out the best in you. Big lesson, because it didn't work
yeah.
out for me. And I
And how
knew that
long
I
did it
had to
take
go
you?
back
Yeah, how long did it take you
to
to like
figure
figure that out? Yeah.
um having just a horrible failure at the Olympic trials,
Oh.
and realizing that I'd forgotten why I started it in the first place,
Mm,
and that was to, I loved this sport. I was passionate about it. I wanted to find myself, and I did find myself through this, but then I kind of started doing all these things that just weren't me.
mm,
So in that, when you have your big failure, oftentimes your biggest, deepest failure, you're like 2 millimeters from your greatest success, is what I'm realizing. Because when you fail so dramatically, I quit at the Olympic trials. I quit.
mm,
I had, for the 6 or 8 months that I was in Australia preparing for that race, every single night I visualized the perfect race from
mm,
start to finish, everything going just so that I cross the line. Siri Lindley makes a US Olympic team. Well, on the day of the trials, gun goes off. Within the first 5 minutes, I am elbowed in the face, dunked under the
ugh.
water, and by the time I get up, the front pack is gone.
And people
And
say
I hadn't.
triathlons is not a physical sport, physical contact sport.
But I hadn't visualized that.
Mm,
I had only visualized a perfect race. So when this happened, I had no response, and I'm swimming as hard as I can. I'm going backwards. Everybody's passing me. I get on the bike. My legs feel like lead. Everybody's passing me. And I got to the run, and I froze. I choked. So I quit.
mm,
And that is quitting is the worst thing in the world. Don't do it, everybody's horrible. But in that, it sent me, as athletes, it sounds silly, but that was everything to me. That race was
yeah.
everything to me. So it sent me into a deep depression. And in
Mm,
that place, though, start thinking about, well, what went wrong? And what do I need to shift? How do I need to pivot? How do I get out of this darkness, first of all? I'd recognize that. I'd been in that kind of a darkness before. What did I need to shift? And I realized that what I was looking at was, oh my God, how far I had to go to get to the
mm.
next Olympic trials versus how far I'd come. 6 years ago, I didn't even know how to swim. This is a miracle that I was even at the
I
Olympics.
mean, that is a
So
miracle. I got to tell you.
it felt like a miracle. So it's remembering how far I'd come and why I was doing this in the first place. I'd gotten, distracted and started thinking about placings and sponsors and money and all of this, when
mm,
everything was exactly what I dreamed it would be. And
yeah.
so it was a wake-up call for me, and an important one at that.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned earlier that, you realized you had, you're a loving person and you'd gotten disconnected from all these different things that you loved, and that had a negative effect, it sounds like, on the overall race performance. So what steps did you take to correct that once you realized that?
Well, first of all, I went straight home and spent time with my family and my dogs, and, kind of just filled up in that way, which I still do to this day. And then Loretta Harrop had reached out to me
Mm,
because she saw, obviously, how much I wanted it, and she was like my idol. And she said, "Hey, if you really want this, come out and train with Brett Sutton. He is tough, but he is the best in the world." And she said, you'll be, because I didn't have training partners. Well, early on, I had you, I had Pat, and that was amazing. I was so happy. But then I chose this,
B-level athletes.
year or 2 year.
Pat and I.
No. You were amazing. You probably still are. But so that was fun. That was more up my alley. I was living at home. I had my dog. So what appealed to me was, yes, I'm going to go training with the best coach in the world and like my idol, Loretta Harrop, but I'll have a team around me. I'll have training partners. I'll be in a beautiful place in Switzerland. And so I said yes. And that was a lot more, aligned for me, surrounded by people, having training partners.
Right.
It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, but that felt more authentic because there was that connection. There was that, we're all after something. We're all in, we're all inspiring. We're all pushing each other to be the best that we can be. And it wasn't just me, which got me back to, I'll share a story actually. Loretta, after my being there for a few months, she had to get a new apartment. She said, Siri, you want to be my roommate? It'll be cheaper if we go in on this together. And I was like, oh my God, like, no, I can't live with someone else. Like, the triathlete, self-reliant. I don't want to share my space. And she said, Siri, you need to learn how to live with another person so that beyond this whole triathlon thing, you can actually like have a relationship. And I was like,
some wise words.
Smart.
Yeah.
She told me because when I moved in, oh my God, I would like finish my training, make myself dinner, do this. And she'd get back from training. She'd be like, what, you ate dinner without me? You didn't ask if I wanted something for dinner? And I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to like share space with another person. But so that was, a kind thing to do to help me learn how to actually share a space with another person. I'd always, for most of my life, just been so solo. And it was really soul nourishing to have a friend and to share a space, with another.
I am sure. Yeah. I mean, and obviously preparing you, as you said, for later in life when you were to, meet your wife and get married and move in that way. So what a gift in that respect.
And again, it satisfied that connection. Yeah.
And just supporting each other in that beautiful way. Even though you're competitors, which is one of the things like I've always loved about triathlons is the community, even though we're like wanting to obviously beat the other person, like off the course, it's very supportive.
Yeah.
And
totally.
I guess
because everybody's working.
Yeah. And did that cross over into Siri mentioned earlier, Brett Sutton, who is known to be a very hard ass coach. Like he is possibly has the reputation to be one of the, if not the hardest coaches in the sport. So did that carry over into that squad? Like you're still like supporting each other, even though, there's this like go hard, beat the other person attitude from the coach?
Well, that's an interesting question because Brett, he is definitely the toughest coach in the world. Like I thought I'd been training hard, but when I got there, it was like, I haven't been training. It was like 6 to 8 hours a day. And he did not want any of us to be friends. He used to really kind of pressure us not to socialize, not to be friendly. These are your competitors. He kind of wanted us to like hate each other, really.
Wow.
And not hate each other, but not hate. That's wrong terminology. He wanted us to be like, just want to crush each other out on the course. So that being said, like the first day I showed up, I was so excited to know Loretta, but I show up and, I'm like, oh my God, Loretta's here. I was so nervous. Didn't even lift her head up. Didn't even say hello. Like just like going about her business. That was kind of the culture. So, he also didn't want us, I'll never forget, like he didn't want me to be in touch with my mom because my mom was like just so loving, so kind, and would come to all my races. And he said, the love of your mom is going to make you weak. I would still
Wow.
have my mom come visit, and I'd hide her away in my apartment and make sure that he never saw her. 'Cause I needed my mom,
Yeah.
but we all were friends. So it was Loretta and I and Annie Emerson. We called each other the Charlie's Angels, and we had a great friendship, but we were very competitive. But
Yeah.
we would find ways to, get together on if we ever had a day off, which was maybe once a month or once every 2 months, we would do something together because that was important. We all needed that connection, and we knew
Right.
that he didn't want us to have that, but we made sure that we fostered that because we all knew that we needed that.
Yeah. Yeah. From experience, as you said. Uh, in that context, I mean, coming from that, and then obviously his coaching works. You become a world champion. Amazing. But I'm just curious along those coaching lines, like, how does that differ from your own coaching approach? Like, what did you take from that worked? And what were you like, yeah, that's not me. I'm not coaching my athletes that way.
That is such a great question because his brilliance, I feel, was training me so that I would find my own belief in myself. Like he was giving me literally training that I couldn't even believe the words that were coming out of his mouth. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I would do it one day and then the next day and the third day and then the fourth day, I'd be like, there's no way that I can do what you're asking me to do. Cause like I couldn't move my arms or my legs. And he looked kind of at the door as if to be like, well, you can go home. And then he looked back at me and he said, find a way, just find a way.
Mm-mm.
And so every day I'm going out there just trying to take everything I have inside of me to try to find a way to do what he's asking me to do. And every day I found a way.
Mm.
And, how can you ever know what you're truly capable of if you're not trying to do what you don't think you can every single day? And that's what he was having me do. He was giving me stuff and I had to find a way to get it done so that every day I'm proving that what seems impossible is really possible.
Wow.
And that's empowering. That's like confidence giving, like that. And my first World Cup race, before Brett, I was at the point where I could come in like top 10 in a World Cup race, but I just couldn't get above fourth place. And this first race, after having trained with him for 5 or 6 months, I can barely move. I'm so stiff. And every day I was just so stiff and so sore. Because the training was just like crazy.
Mental.
And I go to this race and I'm like, I had zero expectations. It was a Hungary World Cup. I have zero expectations. I'm so stiff. All I want is like when the gun goes off, I hope I can actually take that first stroke. And I get in this race so stiff, so sore, and I have the race of my entire career. I came in second place, my first World Cup podium. Imagine the confidence you get though.
Yeah.
Your worst day, feeling so horrible and having the race of your career. Like it was just proving to myself what's possible and being able to now know that it doesn't matter how you feel. You've done all this work and that's going to pay off in you being able to race at this level.
Yeah.
So that is how he coached me. And that really worked because what used to destroy me in races were my expectations. And I couldn't have expectations. Tired, too sore. And what that taught me is that when I show up and I go all in and I do the best that I can with what I have, that's what leads to tremendous results. So that, it was all mental and physical, but so when I started coaching, I wanted to challenge my athletes, not in a way that was unhealthy, where, 9 of them are going to get injured and one of them's going to become a star. So I knew, and there was something else that came to eat your weight, triathletes at the highest level, they're super lean, they're, muscular, they're not skinny, but lean. And I got to Brett and he's like, oh, this is not going to work. And he said, you got rabbits in the pack and you're too heavy. You're not going to run fast. Horrible. Like really messes with your mind. And I remember he said, we've got the cheesecake team and we've got the lettuce team. Wow. And he said, you're on the lettuce team. And I said, well, what is that? He said, all I want you eating is lettuce, 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 lettuce. And I've got enough of a brain on my shoulders to know that like, that's not going to work. It's not going to work for me. But what I knew is I need to lose some weight. That's okay. But I'm going to do it healthy. Maybe I'll cut out carbs after 12 and I'm going to eat a lot of veggies and I'm going to eat a lot of lean protein. So I started eating really healthy. And I remember after a couple of weeks, he's like, see, that lettuce diet's working. And I'm like, yeah, the lettuce. It's
the lettuce.
So I did it the healthy way. I kept my mom, she kept coming and visiting. I had friends. I did it my way. I did what felt right and healthy for me. And so when I started coaching, like that mattered to me. I wanted to know, like, if I was coaching you, Scott, like, who are you? And, what brings out the best in you? What brings out the worst in you? What are your fears? What do you think's getting in the way of you, achieving the goals that you have for yourself? And then formulating a plan where I can, toughen you up mentally if that's what's needed, toughen you up physically if that's what's needed, but in a way where you stay healthy, you stay confident. I'm not creating, issues for later on in life. And I delivered everything with joy. Like I trained my athletes really hard, but it was with a sense of gratitude. How blessed are we? How blessed are we to be? This is your life. This is what you do. You get to travel the world. You get to move your body. You're healthy. You're strong. You're fit. You're fast. Like how blessed are we? So I really magic used a lot of gratitude. Joy. I wanted to make it fun, even in the midst of the hardest set. Do you love it? Yeah. And that was important to me. So I definitely brought my own thing to the coaching, but used a lot of the stuff that I learned from him as well.
Once you became world champion, not once but twice, was what you got from being world champion what you expected?
Yeah, I was ready to retire. Like I,
like done.
In 2001, like I found what I was looking for, a love for myself, an appreciation for myself, a respect for myself. The message to me was like, I can achieve the impossible. Like I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay in this life. And, what kept me in it was, that little voice in your head that's like, what if it was just a fluke? I didn't want to ever question it. I didn't ever want to think I got lucky. And so for me, I needed to, instead of, when you achieve that big goal, every human has a tendency to think like, oh, maybe I've reached my quota. I better play it safe now.
Right.
And I didn't want to do that. I wanted instead to think what if this is like a preview of coming attractions? What if I've only scratched the surface of what I'm capable of? Like that's how we all must think when we achieve that ultimate goal. Don't think, ooh, okay, I did it. That's it. I'll play it safe now. It's like, no, okay, what else can I do? So I decided to do that for me, to prove to myself that it wasn't a fluke. I'm the real deal. And thankfully I went on, I won, the title again that next year. And then I retired at number one in the world. I'm like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
And on a high note and the body is done.
All I wanted to do was help others, find a way to believe in themselves and what's possible for them. And I was exhausted too, because in my final couple of years, I got this unbelievable sponsorship. This is before I even started winning with Ralph Lauren, RLX, their line. It was unbelievable sponsorship. I'm like, why are they giving this to me? Like, I'm not even good yet. But it was like the ticket to having everything I needed to make my dream come true. Like, it was just a dream. And I was all excited. I went to New York. I'm going to sign the contract. And right before I do, the guy says one thing. You know, we are a very family-oriented team. So-and-so's married, and this one's got a boyfriend, and this and that. If we're going to do this, you need to grow your hair long. You need to get a boyfriend.
Wow.
And in that moment, you know, I had just started being really comfortable, like telling people that I'm gay. But I thought, you know, this is everything I've ever dreamed of. So I signed the contract, left the room, literally like slammed myself back in the closet. And the sponsorship did help me become a world champion, but I had to abandon myself in order to make that happen.
I was going to say, you had to lose your authentic self. Yeah.
Yeah. So as awesome as it was, when I retired, it's like I will never abandon myself. Well, not quite. Actually, I made a few mistakes after I retired, but it was empty because it was me winning. It was me, the world champion, but it wasn't the real me.
No. What is the most important lesson that you try to impart on your athletes that has nothing to do with training hours or transition splits or PRs?
There's so much, but this is like your personal journey. It's about finding the truest, most powerful version of you. And every failure is an opportunity to learn. Every success is something to celebrate. And success, like even a failure is success because you learn from it. You move forward. And so to really set yourself up for success in sport and in life, you know, find a way to frame success to where you're always like, when I started and I sucked, to me, I define success as progress. Like, as long as I'm making progress in some way, shape, or form every single day, I'm successful. Because people used to ask, like, how are you not getting discouraged? Like, you suck. And I said, every day I'm making progress. You know, maybe yesterday when someone laughed at me, I only cried for like 10 seconds instead of 5 minutes. Like, that's progress. So celebrate your success, your progress every single day. Acknowledge and appreciate your failures as, you know, a way to learn. It's information. It's how you grow. It's how you make progress.
Right.
And always find joy and always be grateful for this miracle of life, for every breath that you take, for your training partners, for your arms, for your legs, for your feet, for your mouth that can eat and fuel yourself, like everything, like every moment is a gift. And I feel like all of that, you know, and honoring yourself in everything and being all that you are and not wearing any masks or showing up in a way you have to, like living authentically and being the best you every day. That's what it's all about. And no finished place or time or power can define you. Only you can do that.
Yeah. Only you can do that. 100%. And what do you feel like, do you think you learned anything about love, either loving yourself or just loving in general from all those years of intense training and your success?
Absolutely. So much. I really, you know, when my body was doing things I never thought it could, you know, training that hard, I remember every night I thought I have to like give back to my body. So every night I would have a bath with Epsom salts and I would literally like go down every part of my body and say, thank you, mind for staying strong today. Thank you to my arms for swimming. Thank you to my legs. And I would honor and thank my body because I felt like so grateful for how it just showed up for me every single day and somehow like got her done. And I felt like there really needed to be some kind of a ceremony every night where I
I love that.
acknowledged and loved myself and thanked myself, because we all need that.
Yeah.
Like, don't treat your body like a freaking old rental car. Like, treat it like the luxury vehicle that it is, and treat your mind and all, everything. I'd even like, oh my God, thank you for staying strong today. That was important to me. So what I learned is it deepened my gratitude for my body, for my mind, for my training partners, for my coach. He really was an amazing coach. And it helped me. I don't know. I realized also in the time where I kind of failed at the Olympic trials, like I'd forgotten how much I loved the sport. Forgotten how much I loved the people and how I loved, being outside and moving my body and feeling healthy and feeling fit. Like, when you reconnect to all the reasons why you're doing that thing that you've devoted your life to, when you remember what you love about it, when you anchor into that love,
Yes.
you become superpowered. And when you surround yourself with love, like I'm a believer that like anything that you want in life, whether it be love or kindness or respect or appreciation, like go first in giving it. Go first in giving love. Go first in giving kindness and respect and appreciation. And then it comes flooding back to you.
Flooding back. Yeah. That's beautiful. And I love what you're saying, how you were making it a ceremony to like thank your body and have gratitude for it. And you're right, it does supercharge you. I mean, even like science shows that as you're by doing that sort of ceremony every night, you're wiring those neurons in your brain together, and there actually does create this uplift in how you're able to perform the next day, whether it's in a race or, going on a walk or some other challenge that's in front of you.
Absolutely. And it's what you put in your body, give your body and your mind is showing up for you every single day, going all in, like all it asks for in return.
Yeah.
Is the right nourishment, the kind. I'll give you an example of a plant. Like, oh my God, I have this beautiful plant in our kitchen, and one day I woke up and it was like dead. And I was like, oh my God, like I've killed this plant. So I just start saying, oh, honey, you're so beautiful, and we're going to bring you back to life. And I gave it a bunch of water, and I'm loving on it and each thing. And it literally came back to life like the next day. But that's our bodies. That's our psyche. That's our partner,
Yeah.
other people. When you pour into it, when you pour love, when you pour kindness, when you pour goodness and good intention into yourself or into others or into a plant or into an animal, it brings life into them. And it's so crucial. And we can't forget to do that. It's like the most important thing.
Yeah. And so easily we forget, right?
We do.
Well, and, off of that, everything you just said, what was it like to then go through this whole cancer journey where your body is like falling apart and you can't get out of bed, and all the agony and death is staring you in the face? How did you handle that?
Well, first of all, my whole triathlon career makes perfect sense to me now. It was preparing me for that. Everything that I went through in triathlon was preparing me for that diagnosis. And by that point in time, I knew, here, I'll never forget, my doctor calls, I put him on speaker, my wife, who's the love of my life, standing beside me, and he starts telling me in this really serious tone, you have acute myeloid leukemia, you have this genetic mutation, and all of my wife just breaks down. She's like wailing at the top of her lungs, tears flooding out of her eyes. And I'm standing there, and like the story that I'm hearing from him and from her is that this is the end. And I'm like, this is not my time to go. Like at this point in my life, which is 5 years ago, I finally had everything I'd ever dreamed of. Love of my life. I love and appreciate myself. I'm living this life of purpose and mission, and I had everything. It's like, sorry, like I've spent a lifetime getting this. This is not my time.
I'm not going away.
And so I kind of, in that moment, I cut through all of the craziness, and I'm like, I'm going to survive and I'm going to thrive on the other side. And I need you guys to believe in this. Now, did I believe that in that moment? No, of course not. Like, I'm being told I have like a much huger chance of dying than living.
Right.
But I couldn't afford to live the story that this is the end. Think about it. If you call anything the end, how do you show up? Ready to like fight and do everything in your power to like find a way? No, like if you think it's the end, you stop trying. The end of a relationship. How do you show up if you think it's the end? Are you like doing all the things you did in the beginning that made it this big love affair? No. So I knew that I had to give it a meaning that empowered me. And all of this is happening like in this moment. Like I remember at that time in my life, every morning I'd go for a walk and I'd pray to God. I'd say, God, now that I have this beautiful life, all I want is to help guide others to their freedom, help guide others to find their way to living, what I feel now. So in this moment of diagnosis, it's like, what else could this mean? Maybe what I'm going through now is preparing me for what I asked for. Maybe who I become in like fighting this will be the person that can help guide others to their freedom, that can help others, find all the joy and love and everything they want in their lives. So I gave it this meaning that this was happening for me, that this was happening that this is happening for me, that somehow, some way, in me fighting this and me getting to the other side, I will become that person I dream of becoming. Now that led me to inspired action, to wanting to find, the right treatment and do all the other things that I could do and prepare my mind and sweep out my soul, And when I say sweep out my soul, like I needed to get rid of anything inside of me that was causing dis-ease. So think about that. What causes dis-ease in your life?
What was that for you?
Regret, anger, resentment, punishing myself for mistakes I may have made. So I knew there was like this sweeping out of my soul that I needed to do. And that was to forgive people that hurt me, to forgive myself, to let go of pain or resentment or anger. I needed to forgive. And in sweeping out my soul like this, I was making room for the healing to move through me. Another thing that I had to reckon with, because I believe it's a resistance, is like, and actually I have this amazing friend, Mary Gertz, that came and spent a couple days with me. She said, Siri, in order to survive this, you need to be okay with dying. And I got so pissed off. I'm like, don't even make me think about dying.
Yeah. How could you say that?
How can you even say that? And I remember I like left the house. I went out for a run because at the time I was still quite strong, went out for a run, came back like 2 hours later. And she said, Siri, until you remove the resistance to dying, that's going to get in the way of your healing. And so I had to be okay with dying. And I had to do this whole process of being okay with dying so that once I let go of that resistance, I could put all my energy into healing. So think about that. Like when there's any challenge that you're faced with or any goal that you want to achieve, what is a resistance that's going to prevent you from doing that?
Right.
Come to terms with that.
Well, and I have so many questions about what you just said, but I'll just start with like, how did you let go of your resistance to dying?
Well, there's a number of different things. I mean, it was, any time that I'd lost a beloved animal, I had this beloved Calvin that was my soulmate dog. And when he passed, like all these crazy things were happening. Like my phone would be off in the middle of the night. And the middle of the night, my music would start playing, a song that I didn't even know, but I'm like, oh my God, the words are so beautiful. And my wife would be like, what are you doing, Siri, waking us up in the middle of the night? I'm like, I swear I didn't turn it off. And so I actually started creating this playlist, Calvin's playlist of all these songs that would just come on random moments that were him talking to me. And these different things were happening that made me just know that he's still here.
Yeah, this was not a hallucination. Something was absolutely going on.
Something was absolutely going on. It was undeniable. And so I had to, I always talk about when you have doubts about something, you have to, instead of looking for all the reasons why you can't, you need to stack your proof of all the reasons why you can. And stacking your proof is like bringing forward all the evidence you have. So say, for example, for me, like, how can I survive this less than 10% chance of disease? Instead of focusing on the statistics and all the reason why I can't survive, I'm going to stack my proof of all the times that I overcame a challenge I never thought I could, all the times I achieved something that seemed impossible. And I'm going to stack my proof of all the evidence I have that I can do this. So in the same note, it's stacking all the evidence I have that there is a life beyond this, that we stay connected, that there is a way that I almost feel closer to Calvin because I feel him in everything that I do. So there's a shift we all can shift our beliefs. Why not choose to believe in that? Because it makes you feel good. I'm a big proponent of that. It's believing that Calvin is like presenting himself to me in all these ways, and it fills me up and it like gives me hope. And why wouldn't I believe that? Plus there's proof. So I had to stack all of that evidence to know that, like, I'll still be around. I will still be interacting with my loved ones. I will still be felt. I will still be loved. And that whatever comes beyond this is far more beautiful than we could ever imagine. Yeah.
So whether you're in this body or in a different form, that love is all still going to be there.
The love is always there. And that what's beyond this is even more beautiful than you could ever imagine. I believe that. I believe that serves me. So that's kind of how I resolved that and removed it. It's like, okay, I'm going to do everything in my power to survive. And, I can have this outcome that I'm going to survive and I'm going to thrive. But in order to get there, I need to be okay with the fact that I may die also.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Wow.
And I'll tell you something, Scott, and one of the greatest gifts that came from the disease, when I got to like the darkest, like I was in hospital for this epic, like they needed to give me the biggest chemo and radiation bomb to literally wipe out my body just before death.
Like 5 days straight or something insane like that.
Yeah. 7. I think it might have even been 7.
5, 7. Yeah.
To wipe out the system I had to make room for the transplant, which would give me a whole new immune system. And it's usually like 7 or 8 days after the transplant where it's really tough. And there was a day where I actually didn't know if there was going to be a tomorrow. It was that bad. But what's crazy is, as I was laying in my hospital bed, I started thinking about my life. And I'm like, am I happy, with the life that I've lived? And I started thinking about like, what were the things that mattered most to me in this moment now, knowing that this could be the end. I wanted to know that I loved with all my heart. And what I mean by that is that I loved myself and honored myself, that I loved the people in my life, that I told them I loved them, that I showed them that I loved them, and that I loved what I did every single day. And as I lay there, I'm like, you know what? If I have a tomorrow, I am going to every single day, like, love with all my heart, myself,
Ah,
others, what I do. And there are two more things here. The other one was, did I live fearlessly? Like, did I do things that scared the crap out of me? Yes, I did.
yes, you did.
Yes, I did. But, we had just created our horse rescue. We were lobbying to ban horse slaughter once and for all, giving a voice to these majestic beings. It's like, I can do more. I can do more. I can do more scary things. So if I have it tomorrow, like every day, I'm going to live fearlessly. And then did I make a difference was massive for me. Like, I want to know that if I'm not here tomorrow, that like I left I made a difference. And I knew that
Absolutely.
I had in my athletes' lives and my family's life, but I knew that I could do more.
Mm.
And so this beautiful gift that came from this battle is in that moment, lying in my bed, faced with possible death, I became so grounded in my purpose. My purpose?
What a gift.
My purpose is to love with all my heart, to live fearlessly, and to make a difference every single day. And the gift that I have is like anything that I get asked or presented or possibility of something I can do with my life, I run it through that filter. Will this allow me to love with all my heart, to live fearlessly, and to make a difference? If the answer is yes, I do it. If the answer is no, I don't. Like,
I love the 3-point checklist. Like, boom, boom, boom.
and
What else is there?
To become so grounded in your purpose and to realize that purpose doesn't necessarily have to be some, finite thing. Like, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to make $10 trillion. Right. Like, it has something to do with what really matters. What are the things that are going to matter to you at the end of your days? It's a good question to ask. Start thinking about that so that you start making decisions every single day that are going to see you arrive at that point knowing that you did all those things.
Yes.
What a gift. Sorry, I got off track. I don't know what the question was.
It was a beautiful track. It was a beautiful track.
I hope it was valuable because...
Well, and you did bring up the horse rescue, and I want to get to that for sure, because as you said, like, as far as giving back, you've done that with the athletes you've coached and in many other ways, of course. But tell the listeners about Believe Horse Ranch and what all is there, what inspired it, and what you are wanting to do with it.
So Believe Ranch and Rescue. Well, first of all, can you see behind me? This is Savannah.
Yes. Hi, Savannah.
Okay. She, I didn't have any plans to rescue a horse, but you know how life sometimes happens, and I rescued this horse, and it was in 2016, and she changed my life. Horses are the masters of presence. They are our mirrors. They, in establishing a connection with the horse, I mean, she's 1,200 pounds. And I need to convince her that I can be her leader, that she can trust in me. And in order to do that, you have to remember who you are. I'd forgotten at this time. I was helping athletes become the best in the world, but I'd kind of forgotten who I was, and what I was capable of, and my strength, and what made me me. And in developing a bond with her and a connection, they take you home to your truest version of yourself. And it takes a lot of courage to learn how to ride, and everything is natural horsemanship. It's all just creating a bond and a trust and this beautiful connection. But she was preparing me also for that diagnosis. I needed to remember who I was. I needed to be courageous. I needed to know that I had what it took to do something that seems terrifying. So anyways, after about 6 months of rescuing her and her changing my life so dramatically, I got online. I'm like, why would I need to rescue a horse? And this video came up, and it was like the most horrific video I've ever seen in my entire life. Horses, like 5 to 7 days, trailers, overstuffed trailer, going to Mexico and Canada, no food, no water, horrific conditions, and then arriving at the slaughter plant being dismembered alive. It's like the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I couldn't unsee it. That night, I got on LegalZoom, created Believe Ranch and Rescue, saved 5 horses the next day. We've saved, I think it's 349 horses from abuse, neglect, and slaughter.
Wow.
And what we've realized is that they have this tremendous capacity to heal humans, people with PTSD, people facing cancer diagnoses, autistic children, the works. They are beautiful, incredible healers.
So you're in essence saving the horses, and then the horses are in essence saving people who come to the ranch.
Well, they saved me in my diagnosis.
And yes,
1,000,000%. And when I saw the effect they had on me, just by being in the presence of a horse, your blood pressure drops, your heart rate drops, and you feel this sense of peace and centeredness, which is what you need when you're going through a really tough time. So as soon as I got strong enough and healthy enough, we decided to start running these equine healing programs, and we've been able to help so many beautiful people. It's come full circle.
It's incredible.
The horses heal the humans, and it's such a privilege to witness how the horses do this and the profound impact they have. But it's an absolute privilege and blessing. And obviously, on this call, I'll say, we rely on donations to do the work that we do. It's, I wouldn't change it, but it's not easy work.
It's
a big
not easy.
And we vow to take care of every horse that we save. If they don't get adopted out, we will be their caretakers forevermore. But so it's an amazing mission that's helping a lot of people. We're helping a lot of horses, and it's like probably what I'm most proud of in my entire life. What we've created.
Amazing. And it fits right into your 3-point checklist. So I do have to ask, and obviously there'll be a link to Believe Ranch, and we'll say where you can connect at the end of the podcast here. But I'm curious, what was Rebekah's reaction when you're like, hey, we're going to save horses?
Well, first of all, when I brought this one home without her knowing, she's like, what's going on? Actually, you'll appreciate this. A horse trailer shows up in our driveway. I bought one and it was delivered. And she's like, why is there a horse trailer in our driveway? And I said, we can fit all the athletes' bikes in there, and we can all go on amazing rides in the mountains. She knew I was full of it. And 2 days later, where Savannah comes home, this is when we were just dating, is the excuse I give, that we were just dating. I didn't need to run that by you. But she, at first was not that happy, but very quickly after I showed her that video, she was all in. And it's been
that's brilliant. It's
been her greatest purpose, my greatest purpose, and it's really been a beautiful way for us to love one another.
Yeah.
Because, it's an emotional roller coaster doing what we do, but to share this makes us even closer, makes our bond even stronger, which is such a beautiful gift.
Yeah, exactly. A beautiful gift. And just as we're winding down here, I do want to end on a note there with Rebekah about Beck, your wife. And in the movie, Try Me, you mentioned at one point, you were worried when you got the cancer that, oh my God, she loved me for being an athlete. I'm going to lose that love. She will no longer love me. So what did the cancer teach you about her love?
And this really is for all of us, that we are not loved for what we achieve or the money we make or the things that we do. We are loved for all the reasons why you love that person in your life that you love more than anything. You're loved for that same reason, for your heart, for your soul, for your spirit, for your kindness, for your smile. a lot of us move through life thinking that we're loved for what we achieve and what we do. And that's just not the case. The more you can give of your heart, of your soul, of your spirit, the more you can share of what your hopes and dreams, your fears, your joys. That's the ultimate gift. That's why you're loved. So the more you can give, the more deeply you can love and be loved. And Scott, I know on your journey, you've discovered this.
This is true. I couldn't agree with you more, Siri.
So all of you, it's great that you achieve at high levels. It's great that you do things for others. Like, that's all awesome. But what the people in your life really want from you is your truth, your heart, the real you, just your love. And when I think about, why I love Beck, I love her for her heart. I love her for her kindness. I love how much she cares. I love her sense of humor. I don't think about what she achieves or what she brings to the table. Like, so why wouldn't she love me for those same things? But, fortunately, I had to go through leukemia to know the truth about that. And again, like, what a gift that I wouldn't have received if it hadn't been for that diagnosis. And it's changed me. It's changed how I look at myself. Now I love myself for all those things instead of, I've had to forgive myself for way back when at 23 saying, Siri, I'll be able to love you if you go from not being able to swim to becoming a world champion. Then I'll love you. I've had to forgive myself for that.
Yeah.
Because that was a high, goal to set to allow myself to love myself.
To love yourself. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I just need to be kind and loving and be me. And I deserve all the love in the world, just like you do.
Absolutely. So. You absolutely deserve all the love in the world, Siri. And you are such an inspiration. Thank you again so much for sharing even just some of your story. I mean, there's so much more, but yes. So be sure to look her up on Instagram and websites, and her movie Try Me, the Siri Lindley story, is coming out looking like sometime this year. So be on the lookout for that. It is definitely worth watching and super inspiring. But Siri, tell everyone where they can find you, where they can find Believe Ranch, and anything else you want to share as we close out here.
Thank you, Scott. Well, you can find me. I'm most active on Instagram at Siri Lindley, and the film is at Siri Try Me Film. Love for you to follow us so you can find out when you can watch Try Me. I know you're going to love it. Believe Ranch and Rescue. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Or you can go to our website, which shows all our horses and everything. So please go there. And if you
donate now, donate now.
Oh my God, we'd be so grateful if you would donate every little bit.
Such a worthy cause. I've been to the ranch, and they do an exceptional job with these horses, as well as with the people who come for equine therapy. So you could not be supporting a more worthy cause.
Well, thank you. And that's believeranchandrescue.org. And Scott, I just want to thank you for being such an amazing supporter of ours, such a dear friend. And I'm going to tell all of you that Scott has written a book. Can I do this?
Oh, sure.
And it is absolutely incredible. So, Scott, when that book comes out, I want to celebrate with you, because that book is going to touch so many lives. Like, I know my film is doing, which is great, but that book is so beautiful and so honest and so raw and so inspiring. So I cannot wait till it hits the shelves, and I'm going to be sending it to a lot of my friends as well.
Thank you, Siri. Well, and you can come back on and you can interview me when that happens, I guess.
I can't wait. We got to have a part 2 for sure. There's lots more to talk about.
I would love to do that. Thank you for that little plug there.
I meant it. It's coming from my heart. Like, you sharing so bravely and honestly and vulnerably your journey.
Well,
and it's going to help so many people, because you truly start living life to the extent that I believe we're meant to, with that great joy and fulfillment.
I agree.
When you give all of yourself to the people you love, it changes everything. So it's going to be a gift to so many. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. And Scott, I enjoyed this time. And to everyone, I'm just wishing you love and joy.
Likewise, Siri, give back a big hug for us and all your horses. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you. And love to Tiffany and your doggies and all of you. Thank you so much.
All right. And a big thanks to all of you out there who chose to spend your time listening to this episode. I really want to grow this community together. You can help in a couple small, quick ways to do that. You can click that follow button. You can leave a comment down below. And most importantly, if this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or friends or family members who you think might also want to hear it. Together, hopefully, we can make this world just a little better place.